Hey everybody, we're going to get started here in just a couple minutes, but do want to test that audio just to make sure that it's working. So if you can hear me, if you could type yes into that chat or the Q&A, or yes, raise your hand. I see a couple people did too. All right, perfect. Can confirm that audio is working. So we will get started here in just a minute or so. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Before we get started, just a couple of the normal reminders. We will have time for questions at the end of the presentation. You can type those in by clicking the Q&A or the chat section in the lower portion of your control panel. Feel free to chat between yourselves as well throughout. We will be posting a recording of the webinar on our blog. The link for that will be shown at the end. And if you would like a PDF copy of the presentation, there will also be a link to download that on that same post as the recording on the blog. If your question does not get answered today, or if you think of any others, please email our support inbox, which will be shown at the end as well. All right, I am going to turn it over to Coach Libby, who is going to present on intuitive eating today.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Shelby. This can be a huge controversial and important topic, so I'm thankful to have the opportunity to talk to you all today. Before we get started, I do want to insert out the reminder that we are health coaches, not doctors or dietitians. This is not a substitute for medical help or nutrition therapy. Second, a lot of this information you'll see today is from two major resources. The Intuitive Eating book, 4th edition, Intuitive Eating, a revolutionary anti-diet approach, and the website intuitiveeating.org. And third, there will be a lot of information here today. So don't feel worried if you miss something or need a moment after to process or re-go over things that you have heard. And as Shelby mentioned, feel free to drop any questions in the chat or Q&A, and we'll have a moment at the end to cover those. Now let's dive in. There is so much out there about intuitive eating. Therefore, I am curious what all you might think intuitive eating is. So drop in the chat if you would like what you feel the definition of intuitive eating is. There's no right or wrong answers. And a friendly reminder that the comment section is not a place of judgment. Intuitive eating was created by two dietitians, Evelyn Tribble and Elise Risch, in 1995. Intuitive eating is an evidence-based mind-body health approach comprised of 10 principles. It is a weight-neutral model with validated assessment scale and over 90 studies to date, and is a self-care eating framework which integrates instinct, emotion, and rational thought. Because AI is very prominent in our society, I asked Copilot for a definition and it came up with intuitive eating is a non diet approach to food and helps you reconnect with your body's natural hunger and fullness cues. It was developed by dietitians Evelyn Tribole and Elise Rush in the 1990s and is backed by research showing benefits to both physical and mental health. We will dive into many pieces, but I first want to start by running through the 10 principles, the foundation of intuitive eating. On the screen, we will show the principles as I talk through them. Due to time, it'll be a general brief overview of each. Again, any questions, please feel free to pop in the chat or Q&A section. Principle 1, reject the diet culture. They talk about throwing away diet plans, articles, ideas, or anything that offers false hope of getting your dream body or losing a big chunk of weight in a small amount of time by restricting food or intake. For example, throwing away diet cookbooks or deleting your calorie counting app. This can also be things like scrolling up on TikTok when a video about diet or dieting appears, or unfollowing accounts heavy in diet or diet talk. They state if you allow even one small hope to linger that a new or better diet may be lurking around the corner, it will prevent you from being free to discover/rediscover intuitive eating. Copilot puts it beautifully. Let go of restrictive diets and the idea that thinness equals health or worth. Principle number 2, honor your hunger. At first, this can sound like common sense. When your body is giving you signals it is hungry, you eat. This also sounds simple. Stomach growls, you eat. But how many have heard things like, oh, you're not hungry, just have some water? Or, if a salad doesn't sound good, you're probably not really hungry. Or, here, just chew a piece of gum. Our society can send signals or teach us to ignore hunger cues. As the Get Book puts it, second guess your biology. You are saying to your body, but are you really hungry? And therefore ignoring its primal need. To eat to survive. This is why honoring your hunger is principle number 2. Evelyn and Elise like to state we are born intuitive eaters, but as the environment and society play a role, we de-learn the skill. Think about it. When a day-old baby is hungry, what do? That's right. They cry until they get food, or in their case, milk or formula, to help ease that hunger or pain. They are hungry and honor by doing what they know will get them food. Like I said, in their case, crying. They don't ignore their hunger signals. One thing I was told by a dietitian that goes along this line that was very prominent is when you have to go pee, you get up and go to the restroom. You don't sit at your desk and say, I think I can wait 3 hours to pee. So, why are you doing that for hunger? I stared at her with the most dumbfound expression. Such a simple thing, but earth-shattering for someone who had been stuck in years of diet loop. Intuitive eating is about listening to your body, which a big part of that is honoring your hunger, learning to trust your body and feed it when it needs substance. Our bodies don't know that we can DoorDash or that a grocery store may be 2 blocks down the road. If you keep ignoring the hunger signals in ways like dieting, it'll throw out those hunger signals and your body can start to go back into primal cave-like habits because it wonders when it will get food next. Principle 3, make peace with food. Look at food for what it is. Energy. Energy to keep our bodies moving, to keep our bodies fuel and not go empty like a car on E. There is no moral value to food, no good or bad food. Food is neutral and an inanimate object. It has no power over us, no thoughts, no rule or any magic power. It's just what our body uses to energize us and to keep us moving. Principle 4, challenge the food police. I want to start this section by a profound quote in the Intuitive Eating book. We have become a nation riddled with guilt about how we eat. In a random survey of 2,075 adults, 45% said they feel guilty about eating food. End quote. That is 933 people. Imagine if they surveyed our nation. If it sticks to that 45%, that is 154,621,532 people. The question is, why do we feel guilty for doing something that we need to do to stay alive? An answer, the food police. The food police is internal and external. External diet companies trying to sell you the latest item to lose weight fast, or a parent or friend or partner commenting on such things like how much food you're eating, what type of food you're eating. It can also be messages from our society about how we need to look, act, think, exercise, or that we need to be a certain way. It can also be internal, as mentioned before. Internal is the inner voice that we can have that takes those outside messages to heart and tells us what we need to or not to do. For example, I shouldn't eat that piece of cake as it is unhealthy. Or I need to run to burn off my breakfast. Principle 4 focuses on challenging all of those thoughts. Let's take the I shouldn't eat this piece of cake because it is unhealthy. First ask, why do you think it is unhealthy? Because it is seen as a dessert and desserts are seen as bad. Why are desserts bad? Because they are seen as junk food. This shows the labeling of food, giving food moral value. Challenging the food police can help us take a moment to reflect on the facts. In this example, we can examine the truth to help us see that food, or in this case, cake, has no moral value. It may not be as nutritionally dense as a salad, but it doesn't mean it's morally better than salad. A great resource to help with challenging the food police are thought records. As AI puts this one, silence the inner critic that labels food as good or bad. I want to take a time to acknowledge that some people feel like cake just sounds so good that they have it and they can't control themselves. This leads to Principle 5. Principle 5, feel your fullness. This can be a hard one. A lot of times, especially those who are chronic dieters or yo-yo dieters, there is a disconnect of hunger and fullness cues. The signals can get thrown off, so to speak. This principle focuses on mindful eating and awareness to help you feel fullness. By consistently feeling your body and listening to it, being mindful of when you eat, the connections can go back online. Going back to the cake example, if you feel your fullness and listen to your body's natural hunger signals and fullness cues, your body's desires will balance out evenly. Your body will not always crave a ton of cake. For example, vacations. Like when I went on a 4-day trip with my friends and I ate a lot less nutrient dense options and a lot more fried options. When I got back, my body didn't crave that pizza from the next door pizza place. It actually craved a smoothie. And I listened to my body and honored it and gave it the smoothie and it wanted. Principle 6, discover the satisfaction factor. This is one about slowing down and learning what truly satisfies you, amount and taste-wise. Getting in touch with your body to see what it prefers, what satisfies it, both again physically and mentally. As they put it on the Intuitive Eating website, when you eat what you really want in an environment that is inviting and conducive, the pleasure you derive will be a powerful force in helping you feel satisfied and content. By providing this experience for yourself, you will find that you're eating the right amount of food to physically feel full and also emotionally satisfied. This can go back to mindful eating and help find that satisfaction factor. Principle 7, coping with emotions with kindness. This one can dig deep. Evelyn and Elise address how food cannot help deal with feelings. It is not a true and healthy way to cope with emotions that come up. They emphasize, quote, food won't fix these feelings. This principle addresses finding other ways healthy, and more proper coping strategies to deal with emotions like anxiety, depression, boredom, and heartbreak, such as ways like journaling, thought records, talking to people, therapy, etc. Principle 8, respect your body. Evelyn and Elise start this one out by a powerful sentence. Accept your genetic blueprint. They compare our body size to our shoe size. We don't usually disrespect or show disgust toward our shoe or foot size. We just accept it as what it is. We can't change how big our feet grow or how big they don't grow. They discuss doing the same with our genetics and our body size. We can't help the genetic component that we have and need to learn to accept that that is still a part of who we are. They want us to respect our body. Now, I want to emphasize that this is different than loving our bodies. It is just accepting it as it is and not degrading or judging it. In other words, appreciating your body for what it is, rather than trying to always change it. Principle 7, movement. Feel the difference. Exercise can be a hot topic and one people can be very passionate about. Exercise and movement in general can also be a little complicated. Everyone's relationship with exercise/movement is very different. The dietitians added this principle about exercise and movement because of how it can intertwine with intuitive eating. Our relationship with food, our body, and movement interconnect. This principle is about not doing exercise to earn food or making it feel like a chore. As they say on their website, forget militant exercise. Exercise or movement shouldn't be about burning calories or earning food. It should be rather focused on how it makes your body feel and doing movement for health. Finding movement you enjoy. In this case, just because maybe all your friends are running doesn't mean you have to. Maybe you like yoga or going to the community pool instead. Go for it. Find what works for you. Principle 10, honor your health. Gentle nutrition. This principle wraps up intuitive eating into a nice bow. It is about finding balance and just working on eating to honor taste buds, well-being/health, and culture. They discuss how it is not one meal or snack that will make or break your health, but what you do consistently over time. As you notice, a lot of these principles interconnect together. They can be like dominoes side by side. For example, if you make peace with food, you can make peace with food by challenging the food police. Or respect your body by doing movement that you enjoy and feeling the difference, and not forcing your body to exercise to earn food. All these principles are super important to the whole. That is intuitive eating. Now that we discussed the principles that make up intuitive eating, let's discuss the top things that you can use for intuitive eating and these principles to help us. Reasons why, in this case, intuitive eating matters. A huge one is breaking free from the dieting cycle. Take a second to self-reflect. Do you feel like one of those that are stuck in the middle of the dieting cycle and can't seem to find a way out? Intuitive eating can help you maze your way out of the cycle by doing things like challenging the food police, respecting your body, or all the principles in between. A second one is healing your relationship with food, giving you food freedom, allowing yourself to be in control and not let food control you. Third is to boost self-esteem and body image. Doing the intuitive eating principles and putting intuitive eating into place and practicing it can help you feel more comfortable in your own skin. And fourth goes along with number 2, reducing stress and anxiety in general, but specifically in this case, heavily around food. Before we address some ways to specifically practice mindful or intuitive eating, I want to cover what intuitive eating is not and touch on some misconceptions about what it is. First, intuitive eating is not a diet or food plan. It is not a diet that has strict numbers, amounts, times, regulations to follow, and no food is off limits. Intuitive eating is also not a tracker. You don't track anything like macros, calories, steps, sugars, nothing. None of that. It is also not a pass or fail thing. You don't either succeed or fail. It is a practice. Again, intuitive eating is a practice. It is not going to be linear, and there will be ups and downs and a lot of learning along the way. Be mindful to give yourself grace. It is about what way you are going. Intuitive eating is also not a weight loss plan or meant to help you lose weight. It is meant to help you have a healthy relationship with food in your body. Now, it doesn't mean weight loss won't come with intuitive eating, but it is not the reason to do intuitive eating. And lastly, and most importantly, it is not an easy way out. Now, don't let that deter you. Just because it isn't easy doesn't mean it isn't doable, possible, and very much worth it. However, in our society, we like to look for the fast, simple, easy way out. Our society is all about getting it done, instant gratification. This is not what intuitive eating is. It takes time, effort, and work. It won't always be easy, but again, it can help give you freedom and peace and be worth it in the end. And again, it is a practice, and practice aren't always rainbows and sunshines. But again, they can be worth it. Like when you finally nail that dance routine, or hit that home run, or ace that huge exam. After clearing up all that, let's take a look at real life examples of how to use intuitive eating in everyday life. I like to take a moment to ask if any of them come to mind. Please feel free to share them in the chat. Bounce ideas off one another. There are many ways, and I won't be able to cover all, but here are a general few. Starting with food labels. Food labels first can be confusing, and there's a ton of information circling the internet and and society about them. Sometimes we can hyper focus on them and certain parts of the food label. It is important to know what you are putting in your body. Yes, but there is a difference between mindfully making sure to give your body what it needs and hyper focusing on hyper focusing, which can lead to food rules and eventually make you feel like you're in an invisible prison. So be mindful to not hyper focus on food labels and to not care about every single gram. This segues into calories. If you are counting calories or macros and can't go out even to your dad's birthday dinner without it throwing your whole routine or schedule off or ruining your day, that's when you need to maybe look and say, is this really serving me? Maybe I should think about deleting the calorie counting app or taking a moment away from that. And maybe implementing things like mindful eating to help get in tune with your body. As mentioned just a second ago, a great way to help with balance with all of those things that I mentioned is both balanced nutrition and mindful eating. Take a moment to look at your plate before a meal. Does it have a carb, protein, fat, and color/fiber? Take time when eating to notice how your body and mind feels. Notice what is going on and eliminate distractions like books, phones, or TVs. Another great resource is thought records and journaling to help deal with internal thoughts and emotions and beliefs that might keep you stuck in your diet cycle and not be able to intuitive eat. When you have a thought about food, what factual, credible evidence do you have for and against it? Journal about feelings you may have around food keeping you stuck. Another thing can be using the hunger scale. It is a great way to help with intuitive eating. One is on the screen for you to view. Rating your hunger level before and after eating can be a useful way to get in tune with your body and be able to intuitively eat. For example, I am a 4 on the scale before eating and a 7 after eating. Slightly hungry before, and satisfied after. Another one is thinking about food as fuel and a neutral thing. Don't give it the moral value. Don't look at food as morally good or bad, but more as one maybe just less or more nutrient dense than the other. Now, a question for everybody. How many here are parents? Comment in the chat if you want. The tips I shared can be helpful, but I don't want to dismiss or ignore the fact that a lot of people here are probably parents. This can be a battle in and of itself when it comes to food and nutrition, from picky toddlers to rebellious teenagers and everything in between. I want to discuss a few simple ways to help implement intuitive eating into a household. If you have any ideas that come to mind, please also feel free to share them in the chat. Let's start by talking about role modeling. Many probably have heard the quote, actions speak louder than words. It is proven that kids pick up on actions parents do and start to exhibit quite a few of them. They do what is called observational learning. So, learning from examples they see. This is why leading by example is the biggest way to help incorporate intuitive eating into your home. This can be by executing in many ways. One is being mindful about what you say about food and nutrition in front of your kids. Be mindful to not comment on their size, their eating habits, and also be mindful of what you say to yourself about food and nutrition because even if they're young and maybe even not fully have a lot of conversations yet about it, they pick up things. So, how you treat yourself too can make a big difference. Some parents even put their kids on diets as young as in middle school. This can send a signal to them that weight and controlling food is super important and habits that they should form. Therefore, be mindful of habits like that. Creating a routine to eat together and act neutral around food is also a great example to set. Neutral meaning no food, again, is good or bad or has more value. Now, that doesn't mean taste preference, because everyone is obviously allowed to have different taste preference. Letting them take place in the food choices and grocery shopping as they get older and develop to establish healthy nutritional routine is also a great thing to do. Letting them maybe help plan some balanced meals and go to the grocery store with you and have opinions in the meal plan. It's a great way to incorporate intuitive eating into your household. This and everything discussed today can be quite a lot. Let's take a moment as we wrap up our time to briefly review. Intuitive eating was created by two dietitians, Evelyn and Elise, in 1995 and has 10 guiding principles. Intuitive eating is a practice, and no one will be perfect. It takes time, so give yourself grace and take it one step at a time. There are so many ways to incorporate intuitive eating into daily life, such as hunger scales, thought records, and self awareness. Thank you so much for your time, and I will turn it back to Shelby.
Thank you so much, Libby. The chat has been great throughout, people sharing ideas and different struggles. And again, it's a hard thing. Nutrition in general is a hard thing. So this is just more for you to think about, more ways for you to think about your overall relationship with food. Thank you so much, Libby. Before we get to any questions, just a couple notes on the upcoming webinars. So next month is a little bit different. We're going to talk about navigating healthcare, kind of helping you take an active approach in where you get certain cares and different options that you may have that you might not know. And then in November, we will talk about strengthening your immune system, which we're getting into flu season, right? Cold and flu season. No one wants to deal with that. So we'll talk about how you can naturally strengthen that immune system. And then if you do have lifestyle rewards for points, you may be asked questions. You can screenshot this quick. Otherwise, we will have the slides to download on our blog post, which will be coming out within the next day or so. But again, most of you won't have to answer the questions, but if you do, these are where they are. And then, of course, our contact information. We are on social media. That blog, the second one there is where you will find this recording. You can watch past recordings and register for upcoming webinars on there. And then you can also contact us. The health coaches are fantastic and they would love to chat about any health related things you're working on. So you can give us a call and schedule a time or shoot us an email and we would love to chat with you. All right. Lots of thank yous coming in, Libby. Let's see if there's any questions. Otherwise, we are about 2 minutes out for time. So if you have to jump off, no worries.